In the grand silence of Buckingham Palace behind the gold doors, beneath the chandeliers, beyond the echo of footsteps on marble floors, there lived a queen with rules stricter than any royal decree. Not for nations, not for crowns, but for her own kitchen. Because the kitchen was her sanctuary, a place where tradition whispered, memory breathed, and discipline ruled like an unseen monarch. And within those walls were 5 forbidden foods. Foods she never tasted. Foods she never allowed to be served. Foods that carried stories, mysteries, and shadows from the past. Royal chefs knew these bans like sacred scripture. They followed them without question because the Queen's silence was command enough. Tonight, we open those sealed doors. We reveal what the world never saw, and we uncover the flavors the Queen rejected and the secrets behind her choices. Before we begin, what one food would you ban from your own kitchen forever? Dish number 1, the royal sapphire soup. Among the most whispered about treasures of the old royal kitchen, none fascinated culinary historians more than the royal sapphire soup, a delicately crafted broth once served in the private chambers of Queen Elizabeth II during winter evenings. More legend than recipe, this dish was said to glow faintly under candlelight, earning its poetic name from courtiers who believed it held a quiet magic of its own. The base of the soup was deceptively simple, a slow-simmered blend of heirloom potatoes, sweet white onions, and pale garden herbs grown in the Queen's own greenhouse. But what elevated the dish from ordinary to unforgettable was the infusion of crushed blue cornflowers and a rare alpine root imported exclusively for the crown. These elements created a faintly tinted broth, subtle, elegant, and unlike anything found in public feasts or state dinners. Served in porcelain bowls designed specifically for Windsor's winter table, the royal sapphire soup represented the Queen's personal preference for comfort, cloaked in refinement. It wasn't rich or overpowering. Instead, it was warm, gentle, and deeply soothing, exactly the kind of food Queen Elizabeth requested on nights when the castle felt too large and the world too heavy. But here's the question that still teases every royal chef and curious foodie. If you had the chance to taste one secret dish from the Queen's private menu, would this be the one you'd choose, or would your curiosity pull you towards something even more mysterious? Dish number 2, lavender-infused roast chicken. In the quiet corners of Buckingham Palace, away from the glare of chandeliers and cameras, Queen Elizabeth II quietly dismissed dishes that were loud, exotic, or ostentatious. Among her culinary refusals was a dish that many courtiers whispered about but never served: lavender-infused roast chicken. Though delicate in concept, the Queen found the fragrant herb overwhelming, believing it masked the true taste of tender British poultry. The recipe itself was deceptively simple: plump chickens, sourced from royal estates, brushed with butter and sprinkled liberally with crushed lavender blooms, then roasted slowly until the skin turned a golden bronze. To outsiders, it promised elegance and sophistication. To the Queen, it was a violation of simplicity. She favoured her roast chicken plain, seasoned lightly with salt, pepper, and perhaps a hint of rosemary from her palace garden. Royal chefs recount that when lavender-infused roast chicken appeared on trial menus, the Queen would taste a delicate spoonful, nod politely, and set the dish aside forever. In her eyes, food was an intimate conversation, not a performance. Each meal should honour the ingredient, the land, and the hands that prepared it, without distraction. So here's a question that lingers, like the aroma of fresh herbs in the palace kitchen. If given the choice between a visually stunning dish and one that simply speaks to your heart, which would you serve at your own royal table? Dish number 3, spicy mango chutney with curry. In the hushed corridors of Buckingham Palace, flavours travelled cautiously. Some exotic spices, though admired by chefs for their boldness, were quietly banned by Queen Elizabeth II. Among these was the notorious spicy mango chutney with curry, a dish that promised vibrancy but brought too much heat for her refined palate. The dish, bursting with sun-ripened mangoes, fiery chilies, and complex curry powders, might have dazzled any banquet guest. Yet the Queen found it overwhelming. Its intensity clashed with her love for balance and restraint. She preferred meals that whispered rather than shouted, where ingredients harmonized rather than competed. Royal chefs recalled testing versions of this dish in trial menus, hoping to impress her adventurous side. They would plate golden chicken, draped in the mango curry sauce, with rice scented delicately with saffron. The aroma alone hinted at faraway lands, at empires and colonies, at journeys the queen herself had witnessed as a sovereign. Yet, a single taste told her all she needed to know. This dish, for all its allure, disrupted the quiet elegance she cherished. It was immediately set aside, a culinary story that would never grace her table. And so, we are left with a quiet mystery, lingering like spice on the tongue. Would you follow your heart and taste boldly, or honor restraint and tradition, just like the Queen? Dish number 4. Anchovy pizza. Even in the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, where the finest chefs conjured delicacies from around the world, some flavors were forbidden by Queen Elizabeth II. The most infamous of these was anchovy pizza, a dish that carried boldness, salt, and an unmistakable aroma that could dominate any room. To the untrained palate, it might seem trivial, a playful culinary experiment. But for the Queen, it was more than a matter of taste. It was a question of balance, restraint, and the dignity of her table. She appreciated innovation in her kitchen, yet anchovies, with their sharp, briny intensity, clashed with the gentle, familiar flavors she loved. A single bite could overpower a meal, shifting the harmony she so carefully curated for her family and guests. Chefs recounted the trials. Thin, golden crusts, bubbling cheese, anchovies arranged meticulously in regal patterns. Yet, the Queen's verdict was clear: too pungent, too intrusive, too rebellious for her calm, orderly dining. It was immediately struck from menus, a dish that could never sneak past her discerning eye. In this tiny denial lies a glimpse into her character, a monarch who valued quiet elegance over fleeting novelty, who ruled not only nations but the subtle realm of flavor with gentle authority. If you had the chance to experiment with forbidden flavors at a royal table, would you dare defy tradition or honor the Queen's restraint? Dish number 5. Spicy curry. Hushed, gilded kitchens of Buckingham Palace, where history simmered alongside sauces and stews, one dish never found favor with Queen Elizabeth II: spicy curry. Its fiery aroma, bold enough to rouse even the most reserved courtiers, clashed with the Queen's taste for subtlety and measured flavors. The chefs who served her recalled the delicate balance she demanded. Every meal had to honor the harmony of British tradition. A curry's assertive heat, the unpredictable kick of chili, and exotic spices threatened to dominate, drowning the refined notes of fresh vegetables, tender meats, and buttery sauces she so cherished. No matter how artfully prepared, the dish was deemed too audacious for her calm, ritualized dining. Yet there was a story behind her refusal. The Queen's palate, shaped by decades of disciplined, understated meals, preferred comfort over conquest. A meal was not a challenge, it was a moment of connection, a reflection of stability, a private ritual shared with family. Spicy curry, with its daring intensity, disrupted the quiet cadence she treasured. Even her chefs, masters of culinary invention, knew better than to tempt her with this forbidden fire. The restraint she demanded in her kitchen reveals a deeper truth about her reign. Elegance, control, and grace ruled above all. If you were invited to the royal table, would you respect the Queen's preferences, or sneak a taste of a forbidden spice? As the palace doors close behind the day's service and the silverware rests untouched, one truth becomes clear. Queen Elizabeth II's choices were never about extravagance, but about control, comfort, and quiet elegance. Each dish she banned, each flavor she refused, tells a story of a monarch who knew herself and the sacredness of her table. Her kitchen was her sanctuary, her dining room a reflection of discipline and taste, and even the simplest meals carried the weight of centuries of tradition. From bitter herbs to fiery spices, the foods she avoided reveal not rebellion, but restraint, a subtle reminder that power can be exercised even in the smallest choices. If these secrets of the royal kitchen have intrigued you, imagine what more lies hidden behind the gilded walls of Buckingham Palace. Subscribe now, and join us as we uncover the untold stories, the silent rituals, and the private preferences of the woman who ruled with grace, poise, and quiet authority.